Welcome everyone to another episode of the TechWolf Podcast, where we interview HR leaders on everything related to workforce intelligence, the use of real-time data on jobs, skills and tasks to help organizations understand, predict and transform their workforce. And today I'm lucky enough to be interviewing one of our TechWolf customers, Carolien Sonck, Director of Support Services at the Belgian government. Carolien there is in charge of the government's initiative to become more skills informed, using data on jobs, skills and tasks of their employees. And welcome Carolien to Ghent. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Super excited to talk to you about skills in general, as you've been on the journey for quite a while. But before my curiosity starts, I'm starting with a question from the previous guest, which is Rob Etheridge from HSBC, also one of our customers. And he asked, or he was wondering about the employee side of things. So we often talk skills from a business lens, skills from a strategic lens. But he was wondering, how have you brought the skills initiative, the skills narrative to the employee side of things and the employee experience side of things?
Okay, I think it's very important to talk about all the communication strategy that we put out, because it's one thing talking to the individuals, but it's very important to have everyone in your organization in the same mindset, in the same strategic mindset. So what we did was we built a whole communication planning. So we did some news on our intranet or our personal website. We have a Teams channel. We have some meetings with the syndical parties. So we really tried to do different canals of communication so the people know what are we doing with their data, because that was also very important to tell the people we are working with your HR data and what is in it for them. So why are we doing it? It's not for a part, it's for the organization, but for the other part, it's also for them. If we know what are their skills, we can say you can follow some trainings to improve your skills, or there are some interesting functions, profiles. Isn't it nice to go and try another function?
Yeah.
Because based on your skills, we think that function is really interesting for you.
Yeah. So the importance was looping them in. The importance was making it clear what's in it for them. And it sounds like the internal mobility narrative was very important for employees from that regard.
Yes, and also the motivation from inside our employees, because we are all civil servants. So it's very important to tell what are we going to do with your skills. If there is, for example, a new crisis and we are looking for somebody who has a specific skill, we can go after you and you can help the government. And that's also a very important narrative for our individual.
Fantastic. You already alluded a little bit to perhaps the why you embarked on this journey, but I still want to pause and talk a little bit from that angle, because there's many reasons why companies try to become skills-informed, skill-based, but it's always interesting to hear that from a business lens or business perspective. Why did the Belgian government in the first place get started on this initiative?
Okay, our story has started 4 years ago, I think. Almost 5 years.
Okay, almost anniversary.
Almost anniversary. It was in 2020. Okay. I think everyone reminds COVID, and we are the Ministry of Health. So it was the crisis of the health department. And what were we doing? We were doing like I think everybody did that day. We took our mobile phone or we took our address book and we went searching for people who had specific skills. A skill in communication, skills for epidemiology, very difficult word. Yeah. And what we do, we mailed people, we telephoned the people and we asked, are you available to help us with this crisis? But we have 1,500 employees. It's impossible to know from all our employees what are their skills, what is their strength in our organization. So I think everybody did that once a day. We had a who is who, but the who is who that said Carolien, she's director of supporting services. But what will that say? Nothing.
Yeah.
So I went searching for some firms or some best practices who did some skills-based organization projects. And so we went with BOSA. BOSA is the Federal Department for the Support Services, and they have an innovation lab, and the innovation lab worked with TechWolf. I never heard of it, TechWolf, and so I got in touch with TechWolf and BOSA, and they told us of the possibilities they had for an artificial intelligence project that went scraping all our HR data for making a skills profile per person.
Yeah.
And it's there that the project started and that we went with SBO, skills-based organization.
Fantastic. So clear trigger, clear start with a clear business value also to get that data clear. But how did you get started from a very practical point of view? I think it's interesting to highlight that because there's lots of ways you can get started, lots of angles to take, use cases to prioritize. There's so much you can do. How did you decide on the design decisions on how to actually get started? Be keen to understand that a little bit more.
Yeah, like I explained, we were searching for some firms that could help us with the Who is Who application. And it's there that I talked to Nido. Nido is an innovation lab within BOSA. So, and they told us they did a little pilot project with TechWolf.
Yeah.
And I took some contacts with, it was Sammy, I think, from TechWolf, the first contact we had with you. And he explained us what were the possibilities of TechWolf. And the first time we saw your dashboards, we were overwhelmed. And we said, yes, that's the solution to our problem. And then we are a government organization, so we needed to do RFP. We did a little RFP, and you were the winners. But I think it was because you were the only firm in Belgium that have that solution for our problem. And we went through with your solution. So, and it was over, I think it's almost a year and a half that we are working now with you.
Fantastic. And upon embarking, often it's not about just getting data, it's about what you do with it. So from the RFP or maybe even beyond that, throughout the 1.5 years, what use cases were really a North Star for the Belgian government in terms of applying that skills data? Be keen to understand the different tracks you had in mind.
The most important use case was the search for skills within our crisis situations.
Yeah.
But the other one, because crises, there are 150 people are working in the crisis department. So it's a little use case. But the other use case was everything that's internal mobility. Yeah. Also the government, we need to do more with less. So we cannot recruit anymore, or we can recruit less than before. And so what are we doing? We are looking inside our organization. Where are the skills that we can use within our organization without needing to go outside our organization? Another nice use case that we are trying now is internal consultancy.
Okay.
So when we start a project, you need some skills, like is there somebody who's fond of change management? Is there somebody who knows a lot of GDPR? Is there someone who knows a lot of Power BI? I'm thinking about our little project with TechWolf. And before it was also, I know somebody, I think he can do that.
Yeah.
Now we can go and look in the TechWolf dashboard and we can say, no, it's for sure. That person has that skill. So we can go directly to the person with the right skills to use in our project team.
Can you share a couple of wins you've seen from that already, or a couple of stories you can tell on the value you're already starting to see?
Another nice story that we have is everything that's translations. I think before we had 35 people that were translating, but now with AI, everybody is using Copilot or DeepL or other applications. So that means that we have 35 persons, but they don't need to do translations anymore. So we did a use case where we said that are 35 persons with their skills profiles. What is the function that relies the most to their skills profile. And then we are going to do a little talk with them and to ask them, based on your skills profile, we think that that function is a possibility for you. And beforehand, the thing that we said was, you need to look within all the functions that are there, the vacancies. And if you find something, okay, go and apply for the vacancy.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself. And now we can nudge them a little. We can say, there is maybe a possibility to find function that's really very close to your skills profile.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you're using that story to network across the organization now, and already hinting a little bit toward what's next. Internal mobility can be really big. How big is it currently? And where do you foresee this going in the near longer future?
We start with the real go live the 1st of July. So it's all very, very young. We have now, because we have a dashboard to look which person had already approved his skills profile, we have about 70% people who approved their skills profile. So it's really going very fast.
Approve meaning what TechWolf has delivered, they agree with.
Or they're saying, no, I don't agree. I want to have another skill added, or another skill. That skill is not really my skill, so I'm going to delete it. So there are 70% of the people have already did that process. And now we can show them what we can do with the skills profile. So like the use case of the translators, we can go directly to them. When there is a new vacancy, we are going to check the skills, and we can nudge them a little to apply for certain vacancies. So there are little use cases now, but we are going, I think, for the big bang in September.
How are the initial reactions from the workforce on this?
Like always, you have 3 groups.
3. Okay.
3. You have the ones that say, okay, something new, we will see. Then you have the real believers. They are saying, yeah, we go for it. Like the 70% this week, we have our HR responsible, who is a real believer, who said, yes, 70%, it's good. And we are going to do some new use cases. And I'm going to the board of directors. So the real believers. And then you have the non-believers, and they are asking a lot of questions. The questions they are asking is, what are you going to do with my profile? Am I going to need to change a function? Is it secure? Is TechWolf using my data to do other things with my data? And there we need to a data protection analysis. There is everything. TechWolf doesn't get your personal data. They don't know if it's Carolien or Benoit or Jan. No, they don't know that. They know it's person 1, 2, 3. And that reassures them. And they say, okay, it's nothing, my data is protected. I don't need to change a function. I can stay here and I can do my work. But it's a lot, like we said in the beginning, a lot of communication always.
And that sparks another question for me, which is workers' councils. You obviously had some conversations with those parties as well, because we're talking people data that we use AI for, and that might trigger a lot of worries on their end too. A lot of other organizations are in the similar position where they are starting to use people data and have to justify that usage to workers' councils. Can you share your experience in dealing with that?
We went very, very fast to the working councils. I think it was July 2024, so almost a year ago, that we announced the project. And that we said we are going to work with HR data, but it's all anonymized. So it's all secure, the data that we sent to TechWolf. We also explained the why. Why are we doing it? What's in it for them, for their employees? And now with the kickoff of the project, we went again to the councils and we really showed the dashboards that we are using. And we showed the data that were sent to TechWolf and the data that are used with the HR departments. So they are also re-ensured that there's nothing wrong with the data that we are using, that the data is available for the organization, but now it's structured. And I think that's also very important to explain, that we are not doing something else that we did before, but now it's structured. We are using the same language and the taxonomy that was provided by TechWolf. I think that re-ensuring everybody is the most important message that I can give.
So regular communication, looping them in proactively,
showing the dashboards, showing the possibilities. That's very important.
Yeah, fantastic. We talked a bit about stakeholders as well in the form of employees, workers' councils, but I'm keen to understand what the project team looks like at the Belgian government that is associated with this project. Because there again, there's a lot of design decisions to make. So what does the project team look like?
You have the project lead, who is an communication employee, so he has very good communication skills. We have people of the HR department, because the use cases are coming from them. So there's one of the HR department. We have somebody of IT, because when we do the connection with our teams, we have somebody of ICT who is helping us. And I think the most important person in the whole project team is our data owner, our data expert. Because we receive the data from TechWolf, but data is just data. You need to build some dashboards. You need to know how to interpret the data. So, and there we have our expert that is really doing some magic things with Power BI, and even the colleagues of TechWolf were impressed of everything he could do with Power BI and the data. So I think that's key. And another thing that's very important that I almost forgot, but was in the beginning, was our DPO, because it's very important to have that GDPR regulations, that nowadays also the AI Act. So, and there our DPO helped us to making sure that everything that we are doing is in line with the regulations in Europe.
Yeah, sounds like a great team.
Yeah, it's a great team.
And you are then the connective tissue between the team and then also networking across the broader organization. I'm also keen on that valet of the work, because, I mean, this is a new topic, new initiative. There's wins happening, but you need to get out there often enough to share those wins and to network about it. How important has that been for you? And can you share a couple of best practices for other organizations, advice you can give on that importance and the way you approached it?
In our own organization or in the federal government?
The federal government, I would say.
Federal government, yeah. I think I'm a real ambassador for TechWolf in the federal government, because in the beginning they didn't believe in the project. They said, another AI project, another little firm that is doing something with our data. But now we are showing the results, and we are showing the wins that we have internally. Like I said, with people are doing the translators or the internal mobility, people that are coming back after a disease, where we are looking with them, this is your skills profile. What can we do with your skills in the organization? And now I'm showing to all my colleagues in the federal government what we can do with it. And they are all believers, because they see the results. It's not longer hypothetically or a publicity stunt, because we see that's also something that CEOs will recognize. We see a lot of pitches or people who come with us, we have a solution for your problem. On paper it's nice, but we never see the results. And here we can show the results. So I think that's very important, to show the real results, like the dashboards and the use cases.
Fantastic. As we look ahead, imagine we have this conversation exactly 1 year from now. What do you hope you'll be able to share in the microphone then about the journey? Knowing where it's progressing, knowing the plans you have, what would you hope to tell me in 1 year time?
I hope It's really, I have a dream. We can do an RFP for the whole federal government. And so we can have 60,000 skills profiles for the federal government, and that we can switch very easily from the one ministry to the other ministry.
Yeah.
Because now we are staying in our little organization. We have 1,500 people, so we're not so little. But in the federal government, there are 60,000 people.
Yeah.
So if there's a possibility to have somebody in our organization that we are saying, maybe there are other functions in other ministries where you can have more value for the organization, that would be a dream for me that's coming true.
Let's see in 1 year's time. We'll come back here.
Okay.
And
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll see if we can share that news. And then my last question is actually a question that you will ask, which is to our next guest. I'm not sure who that will be yet, but can you ask a question to our next guest about skills, about workforce intelligence, something you're curious about to ask a peer of yours in another organization, and something that's on your mind?
Yeah, I like to ask a question. Are there any use cases that are not HR related that you can find for me for doing with the TechWolf data?
Not HR related, like any other function you mean, or?
Yeah, for instance, are there some data analysis that we can do with the skills the skills dashboard? I don't know, some other related use cases than HR.
Okay. Let's see how they roll with that. I'll definitely get the answer to you.
Okay.
And then nothing is left for me to say, but thank you very much, Carolien, for the conversation.
Thank you.
And I hope we do this again, maybe in 1 year's time.
Yeah, maybe. Looking forward. So, bye.